Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid. Navage, Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Are you ready to elevate your business to new heights? Look no further than downtown Fargo. Picture your brand in the vibrant cityscape surrounded by bustling cafes, cultural hotspots, a central business district, and a community that values innovation and creativity. With over 20,000 employees and 5,000 residents at your front door, let Kilborn Commercial Real Estate help find your business a space that inspires you. Call 701-289-7000 or visit kcrfargo.com to take a tour.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus, 106 in the afternoon, and we're looking at temperatures a little chilly, but not too far out of the ordinary for this time of the year. We're at 11 above here at the studio. A little cooler in the Northern Valley with temperatures there in the single digits between about 5 and 9, and temperatures in the low teens out into Lakes Country. At least there's not a lot of wind out there today, plenty of sunshine, and we've got another little clipper system coming our way that's going to bring us a little bit of light snow. Not a big deal, though. So I always try to say, hey, the glass is half full because they just got pounded along that I-80 corridor all the way from Nebraska through Iowa and into northern Illinois. They just got hammered with snow, and those same areas are going to get hit again with another storm at the end of the week. Now, that's great news for ag. I mean, you're getting that moisture down there where you need it. But that's another second storm we're dodging to our south, which has been the setup of the LRC most of this winter. So
it really has, and they might be. You might say they're kind of dodging things. Well, the reality is, when that wind kicks up, good luck. God bless, guys. We've been there.
Man,
it's not so easy.
No doubt. And we're going to be dealing with that wind this weekend. Now, we are expecting some snow in the forecast, but again, it's not going to be anything that's too terribly bad. Again, today, plenty of sunshine, clouds coming in late in the day with highs today in the low to mid-teens and light winds out of the north. Tonight, clouds sticking up. We'll see light snow rolling in from the west. Probably won't arrive until right around sunrise with temperatures rising overnight. And then on Wednesday, we're looking at some snow for the first part of the day, light snow, about an inch. Now, the Northern Valley, far northwestern Minnesota, could pick up to 3, but I think here in the FM area, in Lakes Country, about an inch would just about do it. Some spots might pick up an inch and a half. And then we'll turn cooler on Thursday, back into the teens. Friday, an Arctic front will hit, and that will trigger off another round of some light snow coming in. About a half inch out of that. And behind that, we're looking at very cold temperatures, single digits on Friday. And then the winds pick up over the weekend, and we're talking sub-zero, not only sub-zero highs. We won't get above zero all weekend, but we're going to have winds very strong out of the north at about 25 to 40. And now what little snow is on the ground, we'll probably have about 1 to 3 inches throughout the area on the ground. All that's going to be blowing around, and we're looking at wind chills this weekend, anywhere between 25 and 40 below zero. Nothing we haven't seen before, but it's the first time this season we've seen it. And just an easy reminder, if you are going to be traveling with those dangerous wind chills, please make sure you have a winter weather survival kit in your car. You don't want to get stranded out in 30, 40 below wind chills, that's for sure.
Well, let's not forget to go out and check those pipes. Make sure nothing's leaking that's going to freeze.
Right.
Anything that's on your northwest walls, the water lines, etc. And this is the time where our ranchers kick her into gear because they're making sure that all animals are well bedded and watered. Probably going to increase their rations just slightly to make sure that they continue to keep themselves warm as well, and opening up barns for critters to get inside when needed.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And this is going to last probably about 10 days. We might see a brief day and a half of warming. And by warming, I'm talking teens, maybe around 20, which is about normal. And then kind of back into the cooler weather. This isn't going to be something that lasts, let's say, through the end of the month. And the LRC does have us warming up. Now, again, warming up is all relative. Warming up to near to maybe slightly above normal towards that third week of the month, sometime in that third week of the month. How long that lasts is a little in question, but we do see signs of that. So there's, this isn't going to be something that's, winter's here, now it's staying around. That hasn't been the pattern. That hasn't been the pattern, but it's going to be a sharp contrast, definitely, to what we've been going through for sure.
Well, and we knew it was coming, right? It's January. And when we did our weather special back in early December, you said at the time, there will be a change in weather at some point. We knew that. And here it is.
It is, yeah. And, it's a little stormier. I don't want to say this is, because we're still well below on snow, and that's going to be the case most of the winter. These clipper systems coming in now towards that and Justin does not have the LRC calendar. I think he's out through March. I think once we get through April, he's going to publish that online. I know we've had a lot of requests for that. So hang tight. That will be published here on our website. It will be this week sometime. So I know Justin's little one is under the weather today, so he can't be with us. So, but I know he's working on that, and we should have that online later this week. And with the LRC calendar, the storm that hit in October, I believe it was right before Christmas, the one that hit Bismarck.
You mean Halloween? Because unless you put October into
what did I say?
Into October. You said Christmas in October.
Before Halloween,
I'm
sorry.
Working that way?
Well,
yeah, thanks.
The one that hit before Halloween out to our west.
Okay.
That will be rolling through here that third week of the month, of this month. So we'll see how that pans out. And again, Fargo didn't get much out of that, but Bismarck to Grand Forks sure did. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that for later this month as well.
And we have to, right? Because again, it's the winter months, and that's why we really want to make sure that we keep everybody up to date as best possible. And again, folks down south are getting more than we are. Doesn't mean we might not be next, because if I remember, the LRC said somewhere end of March into April, real strong possibility we could see some stormy weather again too.
Yeah, so
we'll see what it looks like.
Yeah, the storms that are down south now. So extrapolate that out. We're looking at third week in February, or towards the end of February.
So.
Towards the end of February. How's the jet stream going to be aligned? Because we're looking at the flow coming right in off the Pacific, basically, and is that going to be the same setup? The storms will be there. Will it be a little further north next time? That's a possibility. So again, that's the same cycle will be back here. Roughly towards the end of February. So that'll be interesting to watch. See what happens.
I think it will be. It'll turn out well.
Happens. We've got a couple of...
Because we'll get moisture for spring.
Right. And boy, do we need it. No doubt about it. We're going to be covering a couple of topics today. One of, and I don't know, we'll wait until after the break to cover this one, because I think we're going to probably field some phone calls on this, because the media has not been covering this. And we want to give a shout out to one of our listeners for sending this to us. And it's a big truckers protest that they have years ago. How many years ago was it they did this in Canada? Do you remember, Bridgette?
No, only 2.
Was it 2 years ago?
It hasn't been that long.
Okay.
And it hasn't been that long since that happened.
Yeah, and they're doing something similar to this. There's a massive farmer protest in Germany where the truckers are out, and they're doing something similar to this that they did in Canada. We'll be talking about that coming up after the break, but just a brief snippet. What is that all about, Bridgette?
Well, because Germany has been tasked with balancing their budget. And one of the ways that they want to do that is by rescinding a tax credit on diesel fuel that would impact farmers as well as truck drivers and transportation. The protests are because no one wants to see that tax credit happen. And so they are going back to government officials and saying, you need to rethink how you're going to make this budget balance. So therein lies the dilemma. Everybody wants a balanced budget, right? Everybody talks a big game about greenhouse gas reductions. How are we actually going to do it? Because if it's going to impact our food and transportation industries in such a way, this was roughly to the tune of $980 million of loss. Who's going to incur that loss, and how will that suffer? Mm-hmm. Now, additionally, this isn't the only country that's been having protests, and it's on a variety of reasons, most of them tying back into climate. Remember, though, when protests start, It's not always that simple because you have folks right now who are more of the extremist groups that want to tie into those protests
Oh, yeah.
and make it worse than it is and all about them. Now, there are stories on Associated Press, Reuters has it out. So there are stories to be found. I've been watching them here over the course of today, and it's being discussed. But again, which perspective do you want to be on? Because we have that discussion in this country. How are we going to balance a budget, and what will be at risk if we do?
Right. And if you have a comment you want to make on that, or you want to chime in on that, give us a call on our Red Wing Shoes hotline, 701-293-9000. That's 701-293-9000. We'll get you all queued up. But it's we're coming up at 16 after the hour. We're going to hear from Ag Network and a few other things. And when we come back, we'll talk about this trucking, this farmer protest that they're doing in Germany. And we've also got plenty of other ag topics to talk about. All that coming up in just a bit. Don't go anywhere.
Livestock market is mixed, but mostly higher. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Risvet with this market update. Live cattle futures were mixed this morning, but they are solidly higher this afternoon. That's following the late-day pullback in live cattle futures yesterday. Firm gains are holding in front-month February contracts with some underlying support seen in all spring and summer contract months as well. Overall volume has been light to moderate through most of the trading session, although live cattle futures currently find themselves well entrenched within a sideways trading range with very little indication that prices will be able to break outside of this range anytime soon. The slow but steady support based on potential fundamental beef support over the upcoming days and weeks is the focus of many traders, which could help stimulate additional steady gains in nearby contracts as the week continues. Cash cattle markets remain at a standstill with asking prices and bids still undeveloped. It is likely that active trade will be delayed until the end of this week. Box beef prices are higher, choice up 196 with select up 330 and a movement of 54 loads. Now hogs, they are firmly trading higher into triple digits. The recent shift higher has led to a 4-day market swing higher and moving front-month contracts over $4 per hundredweight above support levels seen at the first of the year. A combination of steady technical buyer support combined with fundamental support from cash, hog, and pork values has allowed for renewed trade volume to step back to the table. We'll get a look at the livestock numbers next. You're listening to the American Ag Network.
Non-attorney paid spokesperson. Could your house go into foreclosure? Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Does it seem like the bank has no interest in helping you save your home? And you feel like you have nowhere to turn for help? Then we have good news for you. Foreclosure Protection Services can help save your home as they specialize in foreclosure assistance. That's all they do. If you're behind on your mortgage payments, being threatened with foreclosure, have been denied a loan modification, or been the victim of a predatory loan, it's critical that you call Foreclosure Protection Services now at 800-926-1701. Their network of attorneys and their agents are available to speak to you now. If you're behind on your mortgage payments, Foreclosure Protection Services can help stop the foreclosure process. Call today before it's too late. New laws are in effect that may save your home. Call Foreclosure Protection Services now at 800-926-1701. 800-926-1701. That's 800-926-1701.
Let's get a look at the livestock numbers. Live cattle February up 95 at 170.90. April up 75 at 173.77. June up 65 at 171 even. And the August live cattle, they're up 60 at 171.40. Feeders, June up 2 pennies at 223.90. March down 35 at 224.72. Lean hogs, February up 180 at 72.40. April up 140 at 78.92. And the May lean hogs, they're up 77 at 84.72. The dollar sits at 102.3, with crude oil trading up about $2 at just under $73 a barrel. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Ristvet.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
All right, Screaming Frog, we had to throw that in because,
like I said, it sounds like the Geico commercial with the little pig
does.
out the back window with the wind spinners going. Yep.
Oh man. Well, okay, Bridget. So we touched on it a little bit, and this was brought to our attention off of Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it now, and I guess one of the things off of X was that they were complaining that the corporate media has been silent on this. Now, for the most part, I mean, the national media has not been covering this, but like you said, you saw some stuff on AP and Reuters. Is this something that, all right, with the Farm Bill coming up, and obviously, if this puts a hurt on our farmers, is this something that did this work in? First off, did it work in Canada when they tried this a couple years ago?
So for Canada, it was a little bit different. And let's back up. Is the national media covering it, yes or no? As far I can see now, CNBC has something up. Do I want NBC, Fox, and CNN covering this? Not really, because I'd like them to not get it wrong. Okay,
good point. Yeah.
If they're going to talk about it, I would actually like someone who understands the impact to those involved, the farmers, et cetera, to be a part of this. So I'm not overly concerned that the national media doesn't want to talk about it. Secondly, what happened in Canada? They were concerned because this was going on through the pandemic where truckers, they were trying to do their job. They were trying to haul product, but it was almost inhumane because you had folks that were not allowing them to come in to when they stopped to fill fuel, they were being denied use of restrooms. If they needed food, they had to walk through a drive-through instead of actually being able to go into restaurants and get food. Their nutrition suffered because they could not get to a grocery store with a semi in many cases the same way that you and I could drive there with a car. And so a lot of their protest had to do with the working conditions. That was a part of it, a function of it. Did it work in Canada? I think it depends which side of it you're on. Mm-hmm. Some folks thought that it was successful for what they wanted to do, but there's always the downside of who else is going to try to mediate in it and turn it around for their own cause. And that's where I think the concern comes with extremists who are currently trying to latch on to what's happening in Germany. And they have all the way along, whether it was at the time that things were happening in Holland with the Dutch dairy farmers, or even in Ireland, and they also were protesting there with dairy farmers.
And I think with the government, not just our government, Canada, now Germany, with them trying to put the squeeze on the farmers, basically, is probably the easiest way to put it. Anything like this? Do you foresee anything like this happening here in the U.S.?
Same situation where folks will fight back, right? But we also have some pretty strong commodity groups. When you think about American Farm Bureau, National Farmers Union, and then you start breaking it down into wheat growers, sorghum, corn, all of those folks will push back very hard, and they are well entrenched in Washington to help lawmakers make decisions and push back on bad ones. So the Farm Bill right now, again, I know there's progress being made in some ways, but it feels a little bit like they're sort of just paddling along and pushing it further upstream instead of getting it accomplished. If we have to wait all the way until Q3 of this year to have a farm bill, less focus will be made on it and probably less good decisions will be made as it just draws out.
Gotcha. Yeah. And if you have any thoughts on this, if you're in the farming industry, ag community, and you've been following this story that's going on over in Germany, if you have your 2 cents on it, give us a call. Let us know what you think. 701-293-9000. That's 701-293-9000. Let's hit on
I got a bunch of stuff over here, Dean, that I've been kind of holding on to for today. Right. Successful Farming Magazine is opening a contest called Shop Hacks. Who are the best inventors? Those right there on the farm. That's where tillage equipment has come from. That's where the idea of a four-wheel drive tractor came from, was someone building it right on their own farm. And Successful Farming wants to reward you. That contest is open into February. You can go to their website and you can describe and send pictures and video of your farming hack, whether it's a tool, something you've modified on a piece of equipment, etc. And they are giving cash awards and prizes of tools as well to go along with some of these contest entries. So feel free to swing in and check that out on their website.
Duct tape and paper clips does wonders.
Those things came from somewhere, right? Somebody thought of it. I found this interesting that here in our country, we have students that as they're applying for college, they have to do what's called the FAFSA, Free Application for Federal Student Aid. But there will be a problem with that because right now, as the government's been trying to aid or simplify the student aid process, they're going to make it worse on farm families and small business owners. There was an exemption for families that own farms or small businesses, but that exemption's now gone. So what that did is if you have a farm value, so this could include buildings, land, grain on hand, if that totals $1 million under the old rules, the family would have been expected to pay about $7,600 towards education. Now that family would be responsible for $41,000. It takes you out of the Pell Grants, federal and state aid programs, and forces a lot of people out of student loan opportunities. And there's a balance right there, right? Because $7,600 sounds pretty low for your education. I mean, that's one end of the scale. Usually it's somewhere higher than that. You're not just going to get it all the way down to $7,600.
Right.
But yes, it's not like every asset on the farm is a cash asset that can be turned into those funds to send students off to college. As someone who paid her own way through, it's not quite that simple. But this will affect not only farmers, but again, small business owners with this exemption being removed in a step to try to simplify student aid.
Gotcha. All right, we have a caller.
Okay.
Let's see. We're talking with Teresa. Teresa, you're on Weather and Ag in Focus. Thank you for calling. What do you have to say today?
Well, back in the time when we went from biodiesel, 2% biodiesel to B10, there was a huge pushback on the food versus fuel. The ethanol, the corn growers and stuff have the same conflict. Of course, now we're up to B20 and renewable diesel, and I just feel that as farmers, let us grow that energy, because we know how to grow the energy, and of course, I would consider that incredibly renewable.
Right. And
yes.
And why don't you think they're letting us do that? And by us, I'm talking the farm community.
Well, I don't know. Of course, we have to have more refineries and things like that. But I don't always farms and things like that, especially when they're going on tillable acres, because when we've had that pushback in the past on the food versus fuel debate, when does not that food versus fuel debate come into play?
Right. It will. Absolutely. Which one should it be is what you're saying, right? Food or fuel?
Yeah. Because now, for some reason, it's okay to take those tillable acres and put these big solar farms and stuff on there, when we know that we can grow corn and soybeans, and you can make energy out of sugar beets. I mean, there's a lot of options for us. Why not this way?
That's a great point. Why not use that land for something that can be renewable versus just solar panels, et cetera? Because we know we can raise that crop, and we do every year.
And of course, too, with that, like the soy meal is still available for consumption.
Yes, it is. Yes, because you're right.
With corn, with the DDGs, so we kind of we get to have kind of two different products that come out of that crop, if we could get those refineries and stuff all up and running, so that we could produce that and make a better living on it.
That's a great point, because it's a dual use, right? It's not just a one-time situation. You still have the meal and other byproducts that can go other places to be used as well.
Yeah.
Excellent. Hey, great
Absolutely.
point.
That was my comment today.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much for calling, Teresa. Have a great day.
Yep.
And she's got a great point too. And whatever rabbit hole you want to go down, whether you believe it's why aren't we doing more of this? Because usually every time the government gets in the way, it's usually turns into a mess. So, and with the clean air and with the clean air agenda, and they're just pushing that, they're not letting our farmers do what's right.
And Teresa speaks from experience. She's a farmer.
Mm-hmm.
She is hands-on in this operation. She spends a lot of time working with soybeans, but also is well-versed in corn, renewable fuels. And so I appreciate when folks call in who do have an informed background and can help us answer some of those questions. So hats off to Teresa for taking the time to do that.
No, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Teresa. And we need more people like that to to voice their opinion. It's just that
every time
we really do. And, that's where the truth is coming from. So we're at the bottom of the hour. We have to pay some bills. When we come back, we do have some more ag topics to talk about. If you have anything that's on your mind, let us know on our Red Wing Shoes hotline, 701-293-9000. That's 701-293-9000. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
At Pizza Done Right, it's all about the quality. Fresh handmade dough, delicious 3-cheese blend, and tangy sauce made from scratch every day. The name is there for a reason. Pizza Done Right, inside the bowler, where they pride themselves on serving up a top quality pizza at a reasonable price. Large 14-inch pizza starting at $14. Open at 5 p.m. weekdays and noon on weekends. Delicious, fresh-made pizza, wings, burgers, and more. Pizza Done Right, inside the bowler. Great for dine-in, carry-out, and delivery.
Good afternoon, I'm Tom Tucker, WDAY News First. Newly unsealed documents reveal details about the man who ambushed and shot Fargo police officers last July. Officer Jake Willeen died in the shooting, 2 other officers were seriously injured, and the shooter was identified as Mohammed Barakat. The documents show the FBI received a tip from a woman who said Barakat was mentally unstable, had many weapons, and that she was worried he would become a mass shooter. The documents also reveal that Fargo police found guns and ammo during an earlier search of Barakat's home. Barakat reportedly told officers he had no intention of harming anyone. Agents with the Drug Enforcement Administration who work here in the FM Metro have a new boss.
While drugs are coming into our communities and wreaking havoc and devastation, I have the pleasure of leading a group of outstanding individuals committed to defeating that threat.
Steve Bell has just been promoted to the position of DEA agent in charge of the Omaha office. And the Red Cross is urging Minnesotans to donate blood to offset a nationwide shortage. The organization says blood donations are at a 20-year low and say their inventory of available blood has reached critically low levels. Tom Tucker, WDAY, and WDAYRadioNow.com.
You're building stuff, but you don't have the tools or machinery. Contact Zeus Sales and Equipment. They have what you need. Their vast inventory includes items such as rough terrain and electric scissor lifts, skid steers and compact loaders, walk-behinds, and attachments for sale and rent. Their team is dedicated to helping you find the right equipment. Competitive pricing and flexible options make them the go-to for contractors. 2 locations, the Hollywood Lumber Company and in Fargo. Call 701-951-7368. 951-RENT. ZeusRentals.net. The power of Zeus.
Oh, can you imagine a stress-free Sunday with family, friends, fun, and food? You can have it when you make Barron's your new Sunday brunch headquarters. Experience a brunch like nowhere else. Your kids will love the customizable waffle bar, fresh scrambled eggs, thick-cut bacon, and much more. Plus, while Mama sips on a mimosa, you can wear out the kids in the arcade at Kingpin's.
For a stress-free Sunday, mention My Brunch Headquarters and receive 20% off brunch at Barron's. Make your Sunday stress-free, filled with great food, no cleanup, and most importantly, where family, friends, fun, and food come together for brunch at Barron's. Go to brunchatbarons.com. Again, brunch at BARONS.com. And don't forget to mention My Brunch Headquarters for 20% off and experience your stress-free Sunday at brunchatbarons.com.
Brunch at Barron's, located inside Kingpin's off I-29 and 52nd Avenue South in Fargo.
Weather and Ag in Focus on WDAY Radio.
And there you go. That was for Dirk, who's listening online. And want to thank everybody for joining us. 1:33 in the afternoon. Temperatures, where are we at now? 10 degrees here at the studio. And we'll rise up a few more degrees, close to 15 today. A little colder in the Northern Valley. But, yeah, some brutally cold weather coming our way this weekend as we'll have wind chills over the weekend. 25 to 40 below. There will be some areas to the west of the valley could approach 50 below. Oh, man.
I hate to say it, but that's a regular winter here. It happens. I mean, I saw people all over X, Twitter this morning complaining about the snow down south, and they should, right? It's heavy, it's wet, it's not exactly profitable to move snow unless you're a lawn care person. And I get it, you guys, but after last year's winter, when that's all we did, I just want to say, hey, welcome to Tuesday. That's how it rolls up here. It's not great. I know.
If you have anybody visiting from out of town and they're going to be around this weekend with the bitter cold and they see all these vehicles plugged in, just tell them, hey, we're hip, we're with it. These are all new electric vehicles, even the old pickup trucks. Say they're the new version of the electrical vehicle.
Well, I mean, I knew it was. I grew up here in North Dakota plugging in vehicles, and I knew it was a big deal when you saw your Canadian counterparts driving where the plug-in still had the extension cord on your vehicle tied to it, and the extension cord was just wrapped around the rear view mirror, so you had it handy when you got somewhere and you needed to plug in your car. I did laugh a little at that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes.
All right, what do you want to tackle, Bridgette? I'll let you choose.
Well, one other thing, and I know you and I have a list of items, but one other thing too that's going on, our egg commodities right now are facing some increased shipping costs because of all of the conflict going on in the Red Sea. We're going to see costs going up. We're also seeing delays in shipping. So if you are envisioning products moving to or from, doesn't matter what country you're in, you are indeed going to start to see some increased costs. And right now, Russia has set the floor for price of wheat. So we saw a $3 premium on U.S. wheat over Russian wheat last month. It's narrowed to about $2. So a lot of our wheat is not moving as of yet because countries are trying to buy the cheaper Russian wheat, but they will get concerned about supply. And I do suspect that we'll start to see some movement in the Russian wheat before very long. That was one of the comments I heard from Dr. Frayne Olson of NDSU last week when I attended the Lake Region Roundup in Devil's Lake. And there's more of those types of meetings to come. Right now, we're gearing up for the wide world of weeds next week. And I did say weeds, just like we talked about with our guest yesterday. This is not the weed, but it's a lot of them in a field that we're trying to control.
Now on the Red Sea topic, if we can reverse back to that, will that do anything to the price of soybeans or corn?
So it'll likely affect our corn price first before soybeans, because we do know that there is some corn that comes out of the Ukrainian Russian region. Okay. But again, a lot of that gets sold over there, so to speak. China, of course, is always a big buyer. China has been buying a fair amount of corn wherever they can on the global market. Now, when you think about Brazil has surpassed the U.S. as number one in corn exports right now, but they're still in a severe drought. And when you watch the weather reports talking about Brazil, if they get some heavy flooding rains coming, that's not necessarily going to help them, because heavy rain like that does damage crop. It doesn't always save it. So there's some concerns about what the weather impacts are going to be on the Brazilian crop later this year.
That may very well affect prices for sure.
It certainly can. And if we are debating if we're going to raise corn or soybeans for our Here We Grow project, these are all factors that we have to take into consideration, Dean.
No doubt. Well, we've got, let's see, I believe is it Mac? Mac is on line one. Mark is on line one. Mark, you got a question. Welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus.
Hi. Thank you. I want to put you both on the spot. I know you guys had beans. You had beans last year. What is going to be the best cash crop for 2024?
So, okay.
Let's first,
Mark, can I ask a couple of questions?
Sure.
Okay, so are you thinking about on your farm?
No, I'm thinking about you guys. I know you had beans. I don't think you'll go beans on beans this year again, will you? Or?
Okay. Nope. Okay, so Mark, here's some great points for you. You're right. We would not want to put beans on the same piece of ground. So we're in discussion with our farmer cooperator if we use a different piece of land and what we would fit into with the rotation. What could be most profitable for us? We've talked about sugar beets. The downside for us, though, as far as sugar beets is concerned, is we're not stockholders with one of the local sugar companies, and there'd be some hoops we'd have to jump through in order to get that to happen. Corn does look very favorable for us, and that also gives us a whole different educational perspective, because last year we talked on our videos about how the soybeans grew and what pests affected them. Well, now we could do that education, but we'd switch it to corn. And Justin's really hoping we take some of our corn and turn it into whiskey at the end of the whole deal.
And Bridgette,
okay, one other question.
Sure.
My twin brother is looking at slowing down. We're both going to be 67 and stuff, and he's talking about putting couple hundred acres into dairy grade hay, so he can have income for 5 years. Good idea, bad?
I think part of that's going to weigh in with Dean and the weather is if we can look at a long-term weather outlook, where are the regions in the country that are going to have more concern with drought? You look to the east of us, Wisconsin and Michigan, bigger dairy operations, even into Minnesota, they were looking for hay this year because their hay crop was significantly less than it has been. And if you are growing in this region, you also have some very large dairy operations like Riverview, et cetera. So if you're going to do it, I would make sure to have that conversation with them about a potential customer. Who can you look to long-term if you're raising quality hay, someone you could maybe do a long-term deal with.
And Bridgette, what would be better, knowing that we are a good 70% chance that we're going to have drought conditions here this year? What would be the best?
Mm-hmm.
Would wheat, would corn? Obviously, soybeans would not be the best thing. Well, we're not planting soybeans anyway. But in terms of,
it's all about timely rain.
Yeah.
I mean, if we can get more rainfall, corn certainly likes a bit more rain. But if we can get it when we need it, that's going to matter the most. If we raised wheat, I personally love raising wheat. The problem is it doesn't always have the economics to go along with it. And we have to have some warm weather at the right time to stress it, because generally we want a better protein. Not always, but you want a little bit better protein, and then you can blend it off with lower pro wheat when that's needed by the millers and the bakers. Just depends on the situation for the year.
All right. Well, Mark, thank you for calling Weather and Ag in Focus. We appreciate it. And Mark had a good question there, because if we know, and according to the LRC, we're more than likely 70% chance going to have a drier than normal summer, and there will be some areas of drought that will be redeveloping once again, and it looks like temperatures will more than likely be at or above normal this summer as well.
I like that Mark's brother's thinking ahead about what should I be doing long term. Should I be looking at this hay for dairy, et cetera? And I'm a planner, so I'm the kind of person that would start thinking about who are my potential customers and how can I talk to them about locking in something that we could do as a long-term deal, so I know I have an outlet and a customer for that hay.
No doubt.
Just
doubt.
me.
Right? What else you want to hit here real quick, Bridgette?
Okay, so we were talking about all the education that's going on. Next week is the Wide World of Weeds that NDSU is putting on. That's really targeting our crop consultants and our field agronomists, because that's a spot for them to get specific information when it comes to soil fertility, weed control, et cetera. I get the great fortune to be on their agenda there. Tomorrow, actually, I will be in Canada. I will be at the St. John Farm Days just south of Winnipeg. I also want to make sure, if we're talking about things that are going on in the region educationally, Minnesota Department of Ag has set their dicamba restrictions for 2024. They mirror what we did in 2023. So you have an application cutoff date south of I-94 as of June 12th, and then north of I-94, your use of dicamba is restricted after June 30. And it specifically targets 3 formulations. That would be Ingenia, Tavium, and Extendamax. And there will also still be the temperature cutoff of 85 degrees Fahrenheit at the time of application, or if it will reach 85 degrees during that day. So a couple of things going on right there as far as education and planning for the upcoming year. And I think it's always good for us in the farm community to know what are the rules and regulations, and has anything changed as we go into this growing season, so we can figure it out now instead of at a last minute decision having to be made.
Right.
Makes a difference.
And a red flag was raised when you said go figure, you're going to Winnipeg tomorrow. Guess what area is going to get the heaviest snow out of this Clipper system?
I know. But what time? What time, Dean? When do I have to be back across the border?
Oh, you're not spending the night.
No, I'm just running up there for the day. So I think I can make it. I think I can.
You'll be fine. You'll get through it. Yeah. Most of it should be kind of out of here by mid-afternoon. Maybe a
but
little
the disaster
bit later.
I will leave in my wake is what's going to be the bigger problem, right?
That's usually the case, no doubt.
Yes, it is. Oh man. But hey, if folks if folks are thinking about it, maybe they're at their laptops or they're looking at their phone right now, make sure that you go to our website and then click on the Hot Links deal tab, or the Big Deals tab, excuse me, because we are auctioning off a $3,000 gift certificate towards any Comfort King mattress, and that will end on Thursday, January 11th. So you're going to want to do that. Personally, I have a Comfort King mattress factory mattress here at my house. I love it. So if others are interested in upgrading this year, going into the new year for a better bed, I'd go there. Here's one way to do it.
I heard those are. I've got a Tempur-Pedic, and I've got to upgrade. I love my Tempur-Pedic, but I keep hearing the same thing that if you've got like back problems or whatnot, that's a great deal. So
yeah, I'd go after it if I were you.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we're coming up on break here, so we've got to pay some bills. When we come back, we'll do another brief check of the weather forecast and what it looks like as bitter cold air, the first really bitter Arctic outbreak of the season, heads our way as we head into the weekend. We'll have that and a few more ag topics when we return. Don't go anywhere.
They'll have you laughing right along with them. They're Bonnie and Friends.
I said, very nice sweater, and you said it's a little tight, and then you tried to convince us the reason it's tight.
Oh, well, this is awkward.
Why is your sweater tight?
Why are you breathing? It's the dryer's fault.
It shrinks
It has nothing to do with all these cookies you guys bring over. I have no self-control over eating. No, the weirdest thing is, it's a no-heat tumble when I dry half the time, so I don't know how it's shrinking.
Then all
That's
of
what
us
throws me off.
have broken dryers, then, because we all have the same
100%.
issue as you.
Bonnie and Friends. Catch them weekday mornings beginning at 5.
These days, you can get a car wash just about anywhere. Good for a quick rinse, but if you want your car to shine, there's only one that does the details. Dawn's. Dawn's Car Wash is locally owned and operated since 1958. From the attendant pre-wash to their super scrub soft cloth wash, and every car is hand-dried and personally inspected. You get a superior clean and a superior shine. Put a smile on your car today at either Dawn's Car Wash locations.
It's this Saturday only, Carpet World's annual one-day clearance sale. Discover over 40,000 square feet of quality flooring with one select group featuring nothing over 79 cents a square foot. Find select remnants up to 8 by 12 feet, only $19 each. Plus, an additional 50% off the remnant wall, already marked with huge savings. And that's just the beginning. Have your room measurements handy for the annual one-day clearance sale this Saturday only at Carpet World, 17th Avenue South, Fargo.
West Funeral Home in your difficult time.
Have you planned for all your life's events? At West Funeral Home and Life Tribute Center, we would be honored to have that talk of a lifetime with you. Through pre-planning, we will help honor and celebrate your journey on Earth so you can leave your family a lasting, treasured memory. Discover the difference.
West Funeral Home and Life Tribute Center. Little things make the difference.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
When you're rolling Charmin up to soft on the party, this is supposed to roll it back, everybody. Charmin's irresistibly soft and hella nice. The crib is always stocked. It's our party vibe. So our chicks feel fly. So what? Everybody wanna touch the sky.
Charmin Ultra Soft is irresistibly soft and more absorbent, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. 1:49 in the afternoon. And we're looking at temperatures right now in the lower teens out there. We'll rise a few more degrees. A little colder in the Northern Valley. Clouds will start to thicken up as we head into the overnight hours. And we're looking at temperatures bottoming out in the single digits and then rising actually towards morning. As we head into tomorrow, well, we're looking at snow developing, especially in the morning and early afternoon. Not looking at anything big. It's a clipper system, about an inch of snow here in the FM area. As you go towards the Canadian border, a little more, up to 3 inches. Of course, that's where the heavier snow is going to be because that's where Bridgette is traveling to. It always happens. And then cooler weather as we head into your Thursday. Tomorrow will be the warmest day out of the next 10, it looks like, with low 20s and then teens on Thursday and single digits on Friday. Arctic front brings in another round of snow showers Friday into Saturday, and then temperatures do not get above zero all weekend long with wind chills anywhere between 25 and 40 below. So some pretty serious wind chills. I'm sure we'll have wind chill advisories or wind chill warnings in effect for much of the area. So if you do have to go out and travel, just common sense. Again, don't let the pets outside, obviously, any longer than they have to be. And like you said earlier, Bridgette, I'm sure, now's the time to start preparing for the livestock and make sure, they have open water and all that good stuff.
That's a big deal. And, I'm going to tell you, Dean, get your pencil handy because I have just a pile of stuff over here for us to go through with folks. Okay, here we go.
You got a trivia question too? You want to do that, or you want to hold on to that?
Hold on to that for right now, just simply because I have been getting messages from folks with a number of things to touch on. One, Clay County is doing a crops update. This is their Crop Improvement Association. This will be held next Tuesday at the TAC Music Venture in Dilworth. That starts at 8:30 in the morning. You're going to have folks on there talking about weather, grain markets, biological seed treatments. Most of these folks are going to be from North Dakota State University Extension. So again, that's Clay County Crop Improvement Association's agenda for next Tuesday. I had a request as to where are we at with bird flu. Bird flu right now, we are sort of keeping it on the down low. Folks are using great biosecurity measures. We do not have the migratory flocks passing through our states and surrounding states, so we've had less discussion about it. But since that outbreak began nearly 2 years ago, USDA has spent more than $1 billion to compensate farmers for lost flocks due to bird flu. So that's a huge chunk of change right now that is rolling through the coffers, you might say. Then next, one of the things that I did have for you and I to talk about is that researchers down at K-State University, they are making some headway with gene editing to try to lower the amount of gluten in some wheat varieties. If they're able to do that, that helps folks who have celiac disease. According to the National Celiac Disease Foundation, it affects 1 in 100 people worldwide, but only about 30% of people are properly diagnosed. And once they look at doing the gene editing, they've reduced the immunotoxicity caused by a specific, I believe it's called a Gillian gene in the wheat, by about 47-fold. So they have the opportunity to make this more digestible and palatable for folks who do have something like celiac disease. Gluten's never going to be completely removed from wheat because it does provide the texture, the flavor, and the moisture in our baked goods. Also, please remember, folks, gluten is not GMO. Gluten is naturally occurring in wheat. It has nothing to do with the genetically modified organisms. If your opinion is that the CRISPR technology for gene editing makes it a GMO, that's a different discussion for a different day. But do know that this CRISPR technology is being used in a variety of crops in order to make improvements. Even in livestock, there is a new gene that can be edited within livestock to help them with their heat tolerance. So instances like we had in the summer of 2022, when you have the right weather conditions and animals can die from heat exposure, we could maybe avoid that in a number of cases. So those are just a couple of brief headlines that were coming up on my screen that people were asking about. So I wanted to make sure to hit those for everyone.
Nice.
A lot going on.
Yeah, there always is. There always is.
There always is.
Let's start. You had some trivia.
I've got one if we want to do it. Yep, no problem.
Yeah, let's throw that out there and see if See how smart we are.
I've got it. And what I want folks to do is call in on the Red Wing Shoes phone line. Get your fingers ready. 701-293-9000.
We'll give
and
away a
I'm
rain
going
gauge.
to ask.
You want to give away a
Yeah,
rain
we're
gauge?
going to do a rain gauge.
Okay.
This is from Productive Alternatives in Fergus Falls, Minnesota. These are the rain gauges that last throughout harsh conditions. They are the rain gauges with accurate measurements, same ones that we could be using for National Weather Service reporting. And if you are awarded one of our rain gauges, we expect you to tell us what you capture in it. What's your totals?
That's the catch.
Okay.
You have to report.
That's the catch. You got to tell us. We have your names. So, what state leads the nation in the production of proso millet? For those who are wondering what is proso millet, it's primarily used in bird feed, but it can also be used for humans as well as other livestock, and it can be a biofuel production. So proso millet, what state is the leading producer here in the U.S.? And I'm going to rely on you and Jacob to go ahead and watch those phone lines because
Sure.
I don't have control of that today.
All right. So we're just going to take these calls cold. We've got a caller on line one. Caller, what's your name? And what's your guess?
Me?
Yes, you're on. What's your name?
I'm going to guess the Dakota.
What was that?
I think he said North Dakota,
He's
but that is
breaking up.
not the right
Yep,
state.
that is not.
not the right state.
All right. Yeah, he was breaking up and didn't get a lot. But all right, and we have David on line two. And what was the trivia question? Let's get that one more time before David
Sure.
gives his answer.
What state leads the nation in the production of proso millet? I'm looking for the name of the state.
All right, David, you're up. What's your guess?
I want to go Nebraska.
No.
Thank you, but no.
Oh, that is not right. And what is that used for again, Bridgette?
Proso millet is primarily focused for bird food production, but we also can use it in livestock and human consumption and renewable fuels for biofuels.
We could use it for human consumption.
Yep, proso millet can be ground into a flour. So just like we talked about with folks who have celiac disease, you actually could use that as a flour for consumption if you have celiac.
Interesting. All right.
And remember, you cannot have won within the last 30 days if you call in to win today.
Yeah, and we know. Believe me, our producer Jacob, he's a hawk, and he will let you know. I believe we've got a caller, but we're gonna just do one more recap.
Okay.
Do we have a caller there? He's still talking to him, so maybe he's giving him his answer off of the air. But we're looking at, again, if you missed it earlier, we're going to be having dangerous wind chills as we head into the upcoming weekend, 25 to 40 below. Before that, we do have a chance of some light snow with a little clipper system coming our way tomorrow, and then another little burst of light snow as we head into the weekend. Both of those adding up to about 1 to 2 inches of snow here in the FM area. So we're not looking at a lot, but enough. You get those 30, 40 mile an hour winds, and we're gonna see some blowing of the snow. Line one, Harry. Harry, welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. What's your guess for Bridgette's trivia question?
Would it be Colorado?
Yes, it would be.
see.
It would be the state of Colorado.
It would be. And where's our sound effect for? There it is. All right.
Okay.
Harry, congratulations. If you want to stay on hold, we will have our producer Jacob get all your info. Congratulations, Harry.
Thank you.
All righty, you bet. So Colorado. So I wonder if should have asked Harry if he had to Google that or if he knew that. Either way,
it's proso millet is raised in North Dakota. We're just not the best at it, you might say. We don't have the highest number of acres in production.
Gotcha. I want to thank everybody for joining us on Weather and Ag in Focus. Be sure to tune in tomorrow starting at 1 o'clock. The Jay Thomas Show is coming up next.